The CPI data day has finally arrived, and that means that there will be volatility in the market. If you have a look over here at the crypto bubbles chart, you can see that some coins are up on the day, others are down. One standout one over here is BNB with minus 8.3%. The BNB hashtag on Twitter is trending, and there is a lot going on over there. I think it's gone too far for me not to discuss chart-wise. I didn't really want to give too much of my opinion on this, kind of stay out of the limelight when it comes to the big names like CZ, who's obviously a friend of the channel. But today I'll address that and a lot more. I'll give you the levels to watch for today, what to expect with volatility spikes, and where you need to manage your risk best. So without further ado, let's get straight into the show. First and foremost, head over to my Twitter. You guys know how to play this game. You choose which box you want open. So far, it's already box one that is winning. I'm going to move that over onto the end, and then we'll revisit that at the end of the show and see which box we're going to open today for the winner. So if you have a look over here, CPI data is set to come out at 3:30 p.m. That is at least my time. I think US time, that will be probably around about 8 or so. So that's a month-on-month and year-on-year, as well as the core CPI data. And then tomorrow is I would say, probably an even bigger day, because that is, of course, where Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, will be speaking with his economic projections and giving his statement on the forward-looking a decision of what they're going to be doing leading into the future. So that's that over there. But estimates pretty much summarized by all the major institutions is coming in at 7.3% is what they assume it's going to be with the CPI data. As you know, that anything above that would be bad, anything below that, and the market probably has a big spike up. And you can also use that strategy. I did outline it on the last CPI event. It was couple of weeks or a month ago, I think. Basically, I'll look for it and I'll repost on Twitter, but it essentially involves counter trading whatever the move is that happens between 30 minutes and 1 hour after the announcement has been made. It's a very, very easy trade. I'll look for that. I'll post it on Twitter for you guys later on. So you can see with from Gunjan, this account over here, that the CPI days have become more and more volatile throughout the year. So pretty much this relates back to that show that I did, which is called the whipsaw effect. If you go back on YouTube, you'll find it. The whipsaw effect involves them overcompensating, undercompensating, and that's exactly what it creates. Sorry, the bullwhip effect. So the bullwhip effect, you can see it starts off small and it becomes big and big, and this happens through many different sectors, not just with CPI, but everything becomes volatile within the markets, and that's why this is a great show for you to watch and to start to learn how to trade and sharpen up your trading tools, because over time, this market is probably going to be more traders market than an investors market. Gurgavan says over here that, isn't it weird that for a month, nothing happened to Sam Bankman, and hours before he was supposed to testify in front of Congress, he got mysteriously arrested. So that's some breaking news for some of you that may have not seen this yet. It came out pretty much a couple of hours ago. He has been arrested in Bahamas, and he says here that it looks like someone powerful doesn't want Sam Bankman to open his mouth in front of the Congress. He wonders who it could be. And this story just goes deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. I think this will probably be talked about for years. Who knows what kind of conspiracies will come from this. But for those of you that don't know, Sam Bankman-Fried has officially been arrested. Now, I wanted to revisit this chart, which we haven't for quite some time. It is Bitcoin against USD. And then you have on the bottom over there is the volatility, the Bitcoin volatility divided by the volatility of the S&P 500, which is the VIX. And we had been following it for quite some time over here. Let's see if I can just zoom into this a little bit. Let me just lift this up. So if you have a look over here, started expanding. We had the move to the downside, and now it's contracting again. I haven't looked at this for quite some time, but it's literally come back below the horizontal orange line, which means that volatility has contracted again. When this does increase, you're going to have the next expansive move. So we still haven't seen the main move. I told you guys that the main move would be when you see this volatility indicator move like this. towards at least between the 3 and the 6 level, that is when that move will finish. And as you can see, we're nowhere close to that, which means that there could still be a lot more volatility that's going to come into the market into the end of the year than what I initially thought. I thought this would have been the start of the move over here, and basically coming into the end of the year, this would finish. What this means is this could potentially drag out into next year, depending on when this starts to take off. But if it continues to contract like this, we may only be looking at the next major moves leading into the new year. So I find that very, very interesting. Now, on the 3-day chart, this is our inverted chart. Just to kind of check our biases, you can see what is this. Essentially, this is an uptrend. So you have higher highs and higher lows. You have a simple trend line over here. Trend line is currently coming in at about 19,857, meaning that obviously the downtrend is still strong. In order for this to change, you would need to see this come down and take out this level. And that doesn't change the trend. That just changes the momentum. So until price starts to reclaim above 19,500 on our 3-day chart, momentum has not shifted. Trend only changes when you clear this level over here, which is going to be 21,500. So I'm talking to you investors out there. Those of you who might be thinking, well, you've been waiting so long to buy the dip, maybe you should start rushing in. I don't think so. According to this chart, do not rush in. Let's look at the 4-day chart. Same thing as yesterday. Pressure remains to the downside. If bulls can hold this level, then potentially you're looking at a rally up until about 18,900. When you look at this chart, what does that mean? It still means a downtrend. Nothing has really changed, but it's just a simple relief rally. We covered all the relief rally levels yesterday. Nakamoto list says over here the 1-year bonds are at an all-time high. Being sarcastic, he says, I wonder why. Any idea? Bullas. So talking to the bulls, not a good sign really. Anytime that you see the 1-year or the 2-year, the lower bond levels rising like this above what the 30-year and the 10-year are doing, that creates an inverted yield curve, and we know that is a sign that there is trouble around the corner. Looking at this chart over here, this is of course the S&P 500 futures chart. So this is the trade one that we're looking at. Seems to be coming back up towards the upside. I would still leave this trade. It's a swing trade. Your ultimate stop is coming all the way up at 4,136. If you're in that trade, pretty much just hold it. You should be on a low leverage, small trade over here. Now, DXY seems to be in a range. I've got range high over here, range low. I'm still waiting to see. This is kind of a key level as a horizontal at least. If this starts to break back into the range, this is again the dollar index, it will reclaim the 200-day moving average, and that would look like a deviation back into the trend over there, which means that you would want to target at least towards the mid-range, which is coming in at about 108. I won't talk about the higher targets yet. I think I'll just take it as it comes. First, see if you make it to the mid-range and what that would potentially look like. The VIX, the Volatility Index, I did tell you guys, I warned you back when we were all the way down in the bottom of this horizontal box. I said anytime that it comes into this box over here, there is a major reaction, and we have had that reaction to the upside. The interesting thing, though, is that the S&P 500, which this is usually has a inverse correlation to, meaning when the VIX goes up, S&P 500 goes down. It hasn't actually gone down too hard yet. It's kind of holding more or less where it is. So I'll keep an eye on this. We'll see if it starts to get above the risk line. The risk line is at 30. I do recommend any of you mark that off on your chart. Typically, this is when things really start to get heated. So for now, it's kind of neutral territory while it's in this area. But as soon as you start to get above that 30 mark, that's usually where you see major moves in both crypto and the stock market. So you want to keep an eye out on that. And then you've heard this probably a few times if you've watched the show all year, but at the very, very least, 48 is where you want to be looking for pivotal moves within the market. So when the VIX gets to 48.5, and then major macro bottoms happen within this area over here, 77 to 85 on the VIX. Those are levels that I have marked out. And I know that no matter what it seems like, if it seems like the world is ending, when the VIX comes into this level over here, I have to close my eyes and buy. So keep that in mind. Okay, moving on. some serious stuff over here. Mike Alfred, bold call over here. He says, remove your funds from Binance immediately. This is not a test or a joke. So let's dive into this stuff a little bit. Very, very hectic over there. You have this tweet which shows that 795.2 million in net outflow from Binance on Ethereum. That was yesterday that this was made, and he says this is high, but it's not very unusual. The number for a single day, far removed from bank run territory. So according to this tweet, everything does still seem fine. We'll go into a few more tweets over here. Then you have Travis who says here, okay, this is super, super shady. Binance just suspended USDC withdrawals on ETH and BNB chains. Given the circumstances, this is the last thing that you want to see. I did see that CZ responded to this, and he said that he says, yo, what's with all the FUD? The maintenance was announced a week ago, and it's all done now. All has resumed. So a lot of things going back and forth with regards to Binance. And I think the best thing to do is always to just look at the chart. And I'm going to show you the levels to watch, where you need to start to panic, and where you can say that things are still okay, like things are still holding all right over here. So I wanted to focus on Dylan Leclerc's tweets. He's pretty credible, I would say, within the space. He doesn't really have any ulterior motives or anything like that. So pretty credible guy, and he posts quite decent research. And he says, nothing to see at Binance. BNB borrows have been suspended. BNB is currently the only asset on Binance that isn't being delisted immediately, that users can post as collateral but cannot borrow in cross margins accounts. So I'm just going to go through a few of these things here. He says, yeah, BNB can be used as collateral on Binance, and they also subsidize the rate, which is true. That is 100% true. And he says, let's zoom into that for you guys. If it's used as collateral, explain then how it trades with 2 times the volatility of Bitcoin during the bull run, but no excess volatility in the bear market. And that is 100% true. What he's basically saying, which is why I liked it over there, you can see, what he's saying is basically, how did this thing pump so much? I think our calculator was 1,600% move in the space of 3 months towards the upside. And then we went into the bear market where everything went down 80%, 90%, and BNB just held flat. So definitely at least some sort of a question that you need to ask around that. And he says, I encourage everyone to think long and hard about this. What's the probability that Binance pumped BNB in 2021 with a couple $100 million in funds, creating tens of billions of value for themselves, owns 40% from ICO, and they are now stuck defending BNB? And he says, yeah, it's not a 0 probability chance. And he says, why get an attestation from the accounting firm and only show assets and not liabilities? This accounting should be trivial. Why call it an audit when the audit firm states it's not? You state that you have no liabilities with counterparties, but what about against your own books? So he goes on and on over here. And I wanted to also look over here at this. He says here, if you look at the volume profiles, this is now for the TA guys out there, Binance, so BNB versus BTC spot market, and then you have it against UCT with perpetual spots, and you're looking at the volume profile over there. And this essentially what you would denote from this is the ultimate level of support, which you can see is a very, very long way down in BTC terms. Now, what about against USD, or at least in stablecoin denominated terms? Then you're looking at your main area at 296. And where are we now? We're now 259. So pretty much what this is saying is that you have essentially lost major support, and you'd be looking for low prices. As you can see, at the next major volume profile is coming in just under $37 for as a BNB price as the next major area of support. I'll dive into that a little bit further now. He also says, yeah, I'm sure it was retail that sent BNB 10x up in 2 months. The same with FTT, right? It definitely wasn't the exchange operator with an incentive to drive up the price of their own token to create a feedback loop of attention, hype, and more users. Definitely not. And then he says, yeah, I know, I don't understand the tokenomics. It's, and being sarcastic, of course, it's definitely all not just leverage beta. The outperformance against everything is telling, and you should ask yourself, what is the reason? Who is supporting this market? We know, and do they have infinite money? And then he says, think of some alts that outperformed this bull run. Solana, which was Alameda, leverage and fraud. AVAX, 3AC, Luna, which was perpetual motion machine, etc. It wasn't a new paradigm. It was just leverage and people believing the story. BNB is different, I presume. And pretty much that's what it is, guys, is like everybody comes up with these different narratives, and he calls it here modern alchemy. He says this entire space is just an attempt at modern alchemy. So for those of you who don't know what that means, it's obviously replicating gold, creating gold in unique ways. And if you know anything about making gold, you can't. Gold is gold. And he says, create tokens out of thin air and use capital plus marketing in an illiquid market to create a narrative. Binance got 40% of BNB in the ICO, which was worth 50 billion at the top. So definitely he's asking some very, very important questions in my eyes, at least. And I called this, guys, long ago when BNB, I think it was somewhere around here when it was between 490 and 455. I'll have to go back on those shows or those tweets. And I said that personally, what I'm seeing at the very least, so we're going to go over those levels now. At the very least, I think it was about 140 for BNB, which is this level over here. That was it. It was 125. So this is the level that I'm looking at for a potential bounce. But the truth of the matter is, chart-wise, if you start to see this lose these levels, when I say these levels, I mean 224. Once you start to get below that, and we're not far from there now, and you start to hold underneath that level, and it also depends on how you get there, then this could rapidly start to move to the downside. And ultimate support honestly lies down here at around this $40 mark. You can see it. I've told you guys this before with the markets, with Bitcoin included, that anytime that you see a move up this quick, when you see something rip like this, eventually over time, that area will get refilled. It's an inefficiency area. The market likes to come back and retest those zones. And you have an area that, as quick as it went up, price can come through that area just as quickly to the downside. And this whole zone is pretty much, I wouldn't want to be holding anything long between here and here. This is got zero support. Once you fall through that, and they were lucky to basically break it back into the range over here. This zone over here, I was shocked that it actually came back into the range. I thought probably we're going to come like this, retest under, and then we're going to finish this off into the end of the year to the downside. So keep an eye on that. It's a risky play, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have BNB as one of their safe hodl positions. Personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable holding this. And this is the levels that you want to watch. So to make a long story short, your pivotal level is between 200 and 225. So if it can hold above that zone, then probably you can pretty much have an easy risk to reward to go long, using this wick low as your invalidation level. But if it starts to hold underneath that level with even 12-hour candle closes, I'd probably say that the chances are it's going to visit 125, and then it's just going to be a short-term bounce off of that. I anticipate then over time it's going to go down to $40. I know there's a lot of huge CZ fans, nothing against him. I'm just looking at the chart, as simple as that. And I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm just showing you what I see within the charts. Now back to Bitcoin and the price action levels to watch for today. So yesterday I outlined, watch to see this. This is exactly what happened. I said, take a look at this candle. If you see it close as a wick back within this level over here, which is why I said I'm going to hold my longs, then that might be confirmation that we're going to revisit all the way up here at the June low, which is at 17,592. Clear that level, and we potentially have a chance of getting up to 18,150, which is my main target. I'm not holding my breath on it. I'll definitely de-risk over here into the June low, but I'll hold some on the table with a tight stop loss below in case it gets to 18,150. But then what happens next? Well, you can also use the RSI on the daily chart over here. I've used it pretty much for this entire year. it's worked phenomenally well. Every major breakdown happened when the RSI broke through the trend line to the downside. So put that little trend line on over there, just monitor it, see how it goes. If you start to lose key levels while simultaneously losing this RSI trend line, then you can expect that price is probably going to go down. In this instance, I think we'll lose this trend line, the orange one, on price action before you lose the RSI. Historically, the RSI was one of the leading indicators that I use, but I think price action trading is going to be cleaner going into this event. So once you lose this trend line again, I would pretty much be wanting to stop out of my position now with any price action that comes below yesterday's low, which yesterday's low is, let's just give you the exact level, 16,881. 16,881. That is the exact low. If price action comes back down to that level, I'll probably cut my position and just call it a day. Look for the next trade set up later on. One of the portfolio charts that I did for yesterday is X2Y2. So this is again from a bunch of experts within the crypto industry that we've reached out to, and they gave us a whole lot of their tokens. This one kind of looks like it's still in an extremely strong downtrend, but it could potentially find an accumulation phase over the next couple of months. I'll be keeping an eye out on that. Not much to say on this one. I'll update you at a later stage, just giving you the token. They are all in the daily candle newsletter as well. Okay. Back onto what the show topic is about, which is unlocking huge profits with this secret. I did clickbait you a little bit there, I'm going to be honest. Crypto trading plan. It's not a secret if I'm sharing it on the show now, is it? So I'm going to reshare this because it's a very, very comprehensive and long tweet thread. I just thought that it would add value into your guys' trading toolbox. So I know a lot of you will probably go through it. He says here from Crypto Doctor, Alpha Strategy Mega Thread. He teaches you how to find opportunities even in a bear market. This thread includes the topics of arbitrage opportunities, delta neutral strategies, which are really nice. I like this one. I read through this one. This was my favorite. Passive income on stable coins. Questionable because most of this involves staking. Alpha with directional exposure and automated vaults. I'm going to retweet it. Please go and have a look on my Twitter if you do want access to that. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because look how long this tweet thread is. It will take a whole show for this, maybe an hour even. So that's for you there. Now, with regards to all the FUD that's going on centralized exchanges, very, very simple, guys. Just go use a DEX for at least your investments. Biswap is one of our sponsors, and it is a legitimate DEX. There's nothing that they can do with your coins. Use that link over there if you want to check it out. Go, feel free, play around with it, connect a false wallet or whatever with nothing on, and just go play around with it. You'll check it out. They offer a whole bunch. Okay, onto the trade that I have on the 4-hour chart over here. So left the trade as it is. Now I'd probably be willing to move this up today. Yesterday I told you that if you do raise your stop losses too early, then essentially you would be selling support. So this is support. A stop loss is a sell order essentially. So price comes back down and then you would be selling support. You typically want to buy support, but you have to use your intuition on a day like this with extreme volatility where anything can happen and there's wild swings in the market. I would prefer to de-risk, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm now moving my stop into slight profit. Therefore, any price action that comes back below that wick over there, which is what I just gave you on the daily chart as well, I want to be completely out of my position. So if you want to do the same, go for it. If you don't, then just leave it and you can get the stop hit if it goes into that zone. Now, 4-hour chart with the moving averages. Have a look. This is a very important thing, is the 200. Every time we come into the 200, we seem to reject. So the question is, will we make it through? And if we do make it through, will it just be a wick and then we come straight back down? I don't know. I'll be watching this closely throughout today, but you can see price is squeezing. We have lower highs and higher lows over here. So we're getting into an apex region where you will expect a major move to come shortly. My thinking, and there's no real way of knowing this because ultimately it's going to be the inflation data that comes out today that's going to drive the direction. But my assumption is that we're going to probably push into the 17,500 level at the very least as a liquidity grab, and then potentially a trap could be set over there, bull trap. That brings you also into the top of the range. Okay, so you have the top of the range, liquidity grab, final liquidity grab. My highest level would be 18,150. Now, if you look over here, I showed this yesterday. This is the open interest chart on the 1 hour 1 hour time frame, and I showed you yesterday the purple levels. Typically, anytime that the open interest comes down this low, it resets, price action goes back up. It did reset yesterday, price action went up. I do think that it will probably continue on upwards, which will get us to that 17.5 level. So that's what I'm watching. There's not too much to show over here. It looks like spot are kind of chasing the leverage traders over here, but leverage continues to go up. Spot has recently just ticked up. I think those spot traders will likely get trapped at a later stage. This chart over here, this is very simple. It's the 2 hour chart, pretty much just reaffirming the same thing. Let's just make it bigger for you. Okay, reaffirming the same thing. We're going to change this up a little bit now. This is what I had here yesterday. Stops under there. Now you can move your stops underneath this level, which is over here. So I'll put that nice and straight. Stops go under there on the long trades, because that would mean that you're coming back below the mid-range once again. And for the second time, you'll be losing this diagonal support, which has officially been broken, but it could be a deviation, which you see now it's come back in. The hourly candle that we've just printed, you can see, has respected that diagonal. The main level to get over here, once you start to get above $17,230 and you can hold there, then I would say that it's game on for that 17.5, because this is a key 2017 level that I'm watching. So I think that brings us to the end. There is my long trade. I'm proof in the pudding there. I have not done anything. I'll raise the stop, show you right over there. Slight profit. Stop has been raised. Okay, I'll probably have to refresh this. It's not, I'll do that later, but that's where I'm going to raise the stop to on that. All right, let's go into the random number generator for the competition. That brings us towards the end over here. Let's just quickly click on that. Refresh. All right, looks like box number 1 will be the winner with 40.7%. Let's use the random selector over here. It's going to be number... Oh, yes, I need my hat. It's going to be number 1,403 will be the winner for today. 1,403. Let's check the user ID number, 1,403. Go up to that. All right, 1,403. Here we go. So if your user ID number is 287-71419, then you are the winner. You need to reach out to competition. It is competition, right, James? The email's in the description. So if you did win, email the email in the description. Thank goodness it's in there, because I'm not so good with the emails. I keep forgetting them. And then they will fund your user ID number. And let's see what the prize money is. So again, everything is over here. Just click in the link below if you do want to participate. There it is. It's called giveaways at cryptobanter.com. So email that over there. If you do want to participate in this, we're running it until Christmas, but probably until the end of this week, because then I'm going on vacation. And then use the sign up link. It helps me tremendously. You lose nothing. You can actually gain up to $30,000 in sign up bonuses. So let's start with box number 3, and then we'll work our way to box number 1. Had you chosen box number 3, luckily you did not choose that, because that is $50. That's $50 in box number 3. Box number 2, not a bad one. Box number 2 is $500. Let's see. Hopefully this is the big one. I do want the viewers. Yes, this is a big one. $1,000. Box number 3. You have won the big prize. So once again today, there was wisdom in the crowd. And I think, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every single one of you. It's been a phenomenal year. I really, really appreciate all of you. And I will keep you up to date as well, by the way, when I do go on vacation. So do not panic. Have an absolutely stellar day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Cheers for now.
you.